Ex-Occult star Kat Von D shares the heartbreaking backlash to her recent profession of faith in the baptism video she released, and it honestly may shock some of you. So if you guys aren't familiar with who Kat Von D is, she is a multidisciplinary artist, creative, kind of comes from this world where there's some overlap with some things that used to be a part of the occult. And she recently put this video up of her getting baptized, which was beautiful. A lot of folks flew in. Presumably a lot of her friends that probably aren't followers of Jesus flew in. And she made this public declaration of faith. And she's going to this small little cool church where she's, I believe, in the choir. And she ended up getting some backlash for being bold and public about her faith and her baptism. Now, what's interesting is that she's very careful, and I would say wise, to not consistently make herself as if some sort of poster child for Christianity. She said that she's not trying to be a Christian influencer or anything like that. She said a Christian meme page, which I thought was kind of an unnecessary shot at all the Christian meme page. Christian meme pages got ministries too, Kat. But in a video, she put this out, and then we're going to talk about something shocking that she did. I would say in continuation of her journey with Jesus. Okay, so let's play a little bit of this video.
I know that a lot of people want me to share my testimony, and I'm definitely not going to do that today, but I do plan on doing that, maybe like in a podcast interview or some kind of format where I can just give you 100% of me. And right now I'm like hanging out with a crazy squirrel and another cat and my toddler's upstairs. So I've been talking to like my friend Allie Beth Stuckey, who I really love her podcast. And
I would love to see her and Allie Beth Stuckey.
That'd be sick.
Talk about her podcast. I mean, about her testimony. I think in depth. I think that'd be really cool.
That'd be the perfect setting.
There's some parts of Allie Beth Stuckey that I really appreciate, and I think that would be very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for any other reason that I just like don't really feel equipped to be the poster.
Yo, they probably can't hear it, but I have in-ears on, so I hear whatever animal that is.
That freaking naked cat is just going.
Yo, can y'all hear it? Because I can hear it really loud.
I think it's taking me out.
Child for, Christianity. I think that I'm still learning, and as I do, I will become more equipped. But for the time being, I feel like I've never really been that, and I don't plan on doing that. So if you started following me because you think this will become like some kind of Christian meme page, it's not gonna happen.
Why are you sending shots at the Christian meme page? I got homies that run Christian meme pages. They're awesome. No, I think memes are, I think there's a time and place for Christian meme pages. I think there's a lot of heat when shout out to Jesus memes.
It's been pretty awesome. I'm actually shocked because I was expecting to get so much hate for it. I know that a majority of my fans and my followers are not Christian. And so like, I know that it's a turnoff to a lot of people, and, everybody has had like their own experiences in their life that might trigger certain things. And, and I know that everybody's on their own journey and it's not for everybody, but this is where I'm at. And to me,
what is that? Is that what kind of animal was that? It just came across her.
It's a squirrel.
It's a squirrel?
Like a for real squirrel.
Do you...
Apparently,
you
can domesticate a squirrel.
You can domesticate a squirrel. All right. Did she like find it in her backyard, or is that like a separate breed?
She probably paid for it, like a line of domesticated squirrels.
Okay. Respect. So here's something she pointed out that's really interesting. When you have any degree of any type of public profile, 99.9% of the interactions you have with people in public are positive, which is interesting because I would say, especially on YouTube, a lot of the comments are negative, and especially on TikTok, like the comments is always, so it's always interesting to see like the disconnect between in-person interactions and versus what people are saying publicly. So I think it's awesome that she's getting this love and people are appreciating her being bold about her faith, so on and so forth.
Baptism was a public demonstration of where I stand with my faith, and basically letting people know that I'm not ashamed. And so that's why I really wanted to share it with people, and like if there was anybody out there that felt like they were at a crossroads and don't feel like you fit in, because I don't feel like I fit in anywhere now, and or that I ever have, to be honest. Like,
this is the tricky part, and I can relate to this, is that when you don't come from church culture, when you don't come from being raised in the church, and you just come, in my context, I came from basketball and hip hop and being a rapper and all these things, it is very difficult, because though church culture is very welcoming, it is also very, you must assimilate and start using our lingo and start adhering to our ideologies outside of Jesus, and you must start thinking like us in every single way, which is difficult with people that are coming from a different cultural context, because church culture is its own ethos, and it's very strange unless it's difficult to gauge unless you've been on the outside looking in, and then you're in it and you're like, wait, this is different, right? And so I relate to a lot of what she's saying, and I don't always feel comfortable in a lot of church settings, because sometimes Christians just be weird.
There was this other side of the response that was just so awful. And, it wasn't my atheist friends, like this critical display of judgment from Christians. And I don't understand what would inspire that, aside from like something that's more egoic, because that isn't Christ-like, to judge people or judge people's journey. It's like, you would think that most Christians would be like happy for you when you, come to this point in your life, especially when you get baptized. Like, baptism is so beautiful, and it's such a big landmark in time. For me, at least, it was one of the most important days of my life. So it's like strange that these handful of like negative, critical Christians would like come at me in such a public way as well.
I would say they're probably moving on behalf of church culture, right? One of the things we talked about in our video, which was very important, was that not everyone who is a part of goth is necessarily into the satanic and the occult. And it was important to make that distinction. But if you don't understand goth, and you have no friends, you have no one that comes from that world, and you understand that they could be folks that are Christian that are into goth, or death metal that are into that are Christian, right? Then you just like, ew, that's satanic. Why is she still dressed like that, right? And it's a very shallow.
You should try white.
It's a very shallow. You need to assimilate to church culture instead of like, are you pressing into Jesus?
Yeah,
And I think it's unfortunate, but unfortunately, it's not uncommon.
I think one of the biggest, or one of the comments that I would see like repeatedly would be like people saying that I was faking it, and that this is just a PR stunt to get like clicks and follows, and I don't, or views, which I think is so weird, because my Instagram is not monetized, so I don't get paid for how many views I get. And like I mentioned before, a majority of my followers are probably more turned off by my decision than actually like.
This costs her something.
Yeah.
She doesn't gain anything from this. This costs her something. And even if she were to write a book in a couple years about her testimony, it's still costing her clout. It's probably costing her opportunity in the marketplace. So this notion that she's doing this for clicks and likes I don't think so. It'll be different if she was like a D-list, C-list celebrity. She's pretty high up there in her world. Like, she's booming for what she does.
Yeah.
She's popping. So this doesn't benefit her. This costs her something, which isn't always the case for a lot of folks when they come to faith publicly.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a lot of criticisms, weirdly enough, about like the way that I dress and the way that I look, or the way that my friends looked in the video. And I think it's really insane that we live in a time where people still like judge a book by its cover. Like, I feel like I wasn't aware that there's a uniform that you're supposed to wear once you give your heart to Jesus. Like, but and I will.
Culture. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's culture. Like, it's like you have to now start dressing like us and talking like us, and you can't wear your makeup the same way, or whatever the thing is. I don't think Christians understand how much of a stumbling block this is. Not only do I have to lay down my life and place my faith in Jesus and start learning about his ways so I could live his ways, now I also have to appease and walk on eggshells amongst all of these folks who always have a different gauge of when of what is the standard. The goalpost is always moving within church culture.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Depending on where you are and what state you're in, what region you're in, what denomination you're in. Maybe you can wear pants, maybe you can't wear pants, maybe you can wear, you know what I mean? Maybe you have your hair short, maybe you can't have your hair. Like, it's so gross. Like, and this is and I know this is going to sound cliche, but I think this is some of the pharisaical nature that Jesus was here to correct.
You have a perceived notion of, like, if people wear black clothes or if they style their hair a certain way or if they have tattoos. It's like, that to me is like this.
Or the genre of music they're into.
Yeah.
As if God isn't God over all music and art. As if certain genres of music, just the genre of music, not talking about the content, is going to open you up. Like, this is the idiocracy that comes out of certain deplorable fundamentalist thinking. Like, you're so indoctrinated in nonsense that now you think that there's certain genres that God can't use, that there's certain aesthetics that God is not okay with. Right? Like, this is insane. Like, this is I don't think Christians understand how much of a stumbling block this can be for folks to come into the faith.
Silliest thing you could say. So for all of you out there that are telling me that, like, I'm not a real Christian unless I delete everything I've ever posted. Another criticism that I found was just attacking my husband. I feel like that one is quite annoying because you don't know the dynamics of our marriage and you don't know what somebody's going through, you know? Like, my husband has his own journey and care for him as much as I can. And
yeah, folks coming after her husband,
That's sad.
that's a big want for some of you guys, man. Leave her husband alone. That dude this is probably all new to him, seeing his wife transform. Who knows what the Lord's doing in his heart? You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty wild.
She clearly came to Jesus regardless of her husband's situation.
Right.
So it's not like she's Christian marrying this guy and now he's going to pull her away.
Right.
Like, it's probably a better situation where she's going to be able to guide him to Jesus as well.
Amen.
be the best wife that I can be for him. But until he makes his own decisions, like, should I just abandon ship? Should I just divorce my husband and uproot, like, the beautiful nuclear family that we have because he doesn't sing lyrics the way that you think he should sing lyrics? Like, I just,
artist.
the way that
that
some of those comments were phrased were just so awful and cruel. And I just wonder what your life looks like. Like, do you only hang out with people that think and look like you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably like, yeah, we do.
A lot of these people live in a bubble. Yes,
Why
absolutely.
wouldn't you?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you hang out with everybody that dresses like you and thinks like you and talks like you and goes to the same grocery stores and reads the same books and listens to the same podcast?
That's why they're commenting like that. It's because
that's your yes.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
There was some people that were criticizing the actual baptism, like, because Pastor Brian, he didn't dunk me all the way to where my hands weren't
Oh my goodness. Give it up for...
Yo!
Is that even fundamentalism? What is that? What's that next level?
Full submersion didn't happen.
She purposefully kept her
You see?
her knuckles above the water so that she could retain her former lifestyle while still getting the praise and views from the Christians.
This is crazy talk, man. Holy moly.
The Holy Spirit does not have access to her because her knuckles have not been baptized.
underwater. And I feel like when you start getting into that realm where you're, like, pinpointing all of these details that really at the end of the day do not matter,
Listen, Kat, there are people on the internet, Christians on the internet, that got way too much time on their hands. And this is the kind of stuff they do.
Yeah, there's probably people in your newfound faith that are going to be weirder than your previous beliefs.
Probably.
Unfortunately. like if you felt like we're the punks and the outcasts.
Oh no.
Doing witch stuff.
There's levels to this.
and they're on the internet.
And they're loud.
You're not gonna find them much in real life. Praise God.
Yeah.
But on the internet, yeah, they're present.
Loud. They're like the incels of Christianity.
Yeah. And they make up like a obscure community that never goes to church. Like, so you're never gonna see them. You know what I'm saying?
You're never gonna see them in person, but man, are they out there?
Yeah.
I didn't get baptized to be saved. I was already saved.
I didn't get baptized to get saved.
Now she's cooking.
I was already saved.
And I didn't get baptized, to make it about me. It was never about me. And I think that these people that come at me with these like negative, critical comments, I just hope that you're able to maybe take some time and reflect on how you're viewing the world and how you're possibly pushing people away. I still love you. And I might not be down with some,
The goofiness. It's okay. You can say. You can just say, hey, Kat, I got this thing, and you can use it whenever you want to. Okay, check this out. This is you can incorporate this whenever you feel like I give it to you.
That's goofy.
It's totally free.
Kat got a free license for that.
That's for the goofiness. You can say it. It's goofy. There's some goofy Christians out there. Now, someone said that she's more mature than a lot of Christians. Well, here's the thing. She's probably been processing a lot of this privately and going to church, I believe, for over a year. And the baptism is just a public profession of this, that she's probably been in church and doing stuff behind the scenes for a while. It would seem that way.
She's thought about it.
She's thought about this. And what you will discover is that with Jesus, not always, but many times with Jesus, it could take you 2 years to grow 10 years, or it could take you 10 years to grow 2 years. That there's a lot of us that you just been around church for a long time, and this is just all normal to you, and the gospel don't really hit you the same, and you're numb to it, and so you're complacent. You are apathetic with your faith. And then there's folks that come from actual darkness, actual occult practices, wow. and this is literally the scales fall from her eyes, and then they really, really take this serious, and they actually do things like get into a local church and get connected and get discipled and get pastored and read their Bible every day and pray, right? And some of us you just don't do that. You're just kind of coasting it, like you're mailing it in. You think you have a self-driving mode. You know what I mean? And that's how you navigate your faith, as if you're in self-driving.
There's you can almost tell a difference between the Christians that got saved and never got plugged into a church, and it's been over a year for those people, whatever, versus the Christians that like recently got saved, but immediately got plugged into a church.
Oh, absolutely.
They're insanely reasonable folks that understand the ins and outs of their faith and process things very well.
There's somebody I've been sharing, I'm not exaggerating, I've been sharing the gospel with this person for over a decade, probably longer than that. I'm close with their older brother. They called me and they were telling me about someone else that came to faith, and now they're more in love with Jesus. And they told me, I just wish I was in love with Jesus the way they were. And I said, bro, you don't go to church. Yeah, man. like you don't live this. Like, you don't do life with people. You're not connected. You're not being pastored. You're not hearing the word regularly. You are just out here on your own, wandering and wondering why feelings follow actions a lot of times. And if you are just, I wish I love Jesus the way my friend loves Jesus, you might be wishing that for a long time. You need to get your butt in the church, get discipled, get pastored, get shepherded, and lean into the faith, right? But I hear this stuff all the time. I just wish to, and I'm like, go here. I got a church in your area. At this point, I got pastor friends almost everywhere. So here, go to this church, get plugged in, get connected. The growth will happen,
Yeah, and you might be surprised, like what consistent time in the word, in discipleship, going to church, in prayer, actually does for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you might be floating around thinking, oh, if I just had a supernatural experience, I could understand everything so much better and I would be more on fire for the Lord.
Right.
And it's like, you're not even pursuing him. So how do you expect this to work out? Like, how do you expect him to meet you?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it is the practical habit formation. That's like that icky word, habits.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That is required to then start getting a closer relationship with God and seeing him work in your life.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, I'm having the spooky moments.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. People want the spooky moments to
Without the
sustain
work.
their faith without the work. And that's just not.
Without the time spent in the word is a better way of saying than work.
Right.
Like, it's not just work. It's like,
right. And those of you guys, by the way, I know
Seeking.
I'm cutting right now. And some of you guys like, I haven't found a good church. Listen, there's no such thing as a perfect church, but you know what? You could find a good Calvary Chapel in your area, and that'll more than likely have solid verse by verse Bible teaching, have opportunities for you to connect, get into some sort of Bible study, discipleship group, recovery group, and it'll give you options to meet believers and get consistent and serve. Right? They're not going to have all perfect theology, but you could find, most of you guys have access to find a solid Calvary Chapel. I'm just giving you guys the most like broad, safe place you can go that's not too charismatic and they're not too cessationist and they're not too Calvinist and they're not, right? Most of you guys can find a good Calvary Chapel in your area. So,
yeah, and you got to go, and then you got to go to the member booth right away the first day you're there.
Right.
And then you got to get the information. And then some churches have a really bad follow-up. You know, and then that's on them. And you're like, all right, well, I'm going to try a different one.
Yeah.
But like, if you're actually going to the member thing,
Yep.
right after, right? Not the member, but let's get to know you thing. Then they have a great system to follow up. Hey, welcome. We have a culture class.
Right.
Oh, and then here's the groups. And you're like, I don't want to do the groups.
Yep.
Do the groups.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's not my home church. I'm not committed yet. Do the group.
Yeah.
It might become your home church because you're doing the group.
That's right.
Oh, and then serve. Like the easiest way to meet people is just by serving.
That's right.
Because you don't have to have weird conversations. You just go, hey, where do these chairs go?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Zach.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, some of you guys are like, I left Calvary Chapel. They get too deep in their eschatology. I'd rather you be in a Calvary Chapel than you not be in church. How about that? Like, y'all are looking for a perfect church. It's like those of you guys that are single because you're looking for the perfect spouse. Mm-hmm. She got to be 5'9". She got to have hazel eyes. She got to be blonde. She got to be blonde. Bruh. And all along, you out here struggling because you just, God keeps sending you women and you're like, nah, but she ain't my type. And one thing Ray Schremer got right.
I ain't got no type. Wow. That's great.
You guys want to partner with us? The best way you can do that is by signing up for Patreon. The second best way you can do that is get our prayer journal. All right. Prayer journal available right now. I think this is probably one of the best investments you can make in terms of your own spiritual disciplines. Okay. If you can't afford one, they're available. The PDF is available. BlessGodPDF.shop. If you want the regular prayer journal, it is available at BlessGod.shop. All right. BlessGod.shop. And the hoodie I'm wearing is currently on sale. It's available in navy and it's available in black and royal blue. Okay, so you can scoop both up, get the 10% off code right here when you go to the website, blessgod.shop. You can be back on Monday, man. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys.